Hey everybody, in this session we will study about functions in Python. First understand the concept. Imagine your body. It consists of eyes, nose, ear, hand and many other organs. Every organ has different functions. Like your eyes can see, your nose can smell. So the whole body is a complete program and the organs are different functions. To be more technically, suppose you want to make a calculator which will perform four operations: addition, multiplication, division, subtraction. Making the calculator is a complete program and writing the different operations are different functions. Hence, we can say a program consists of separate different functions. Now, let's understand it practically. First, understand the syntax. First, you have to use the def keyword, then any function name as per your choice. You have to pass some parameters, and these parameters will be used inside the function to perform some operations. Okay, next line. Within triple quotes, we can write about what the function is trying to achieve so that it increases the readability. This is not compulsory, but this is a better approach of writing a function. Next, you can perform whatever operations you want to perform, and then you return the resultant value. To whom? To the calling code. Now, who is the calling code? Here I have written a equal to function name and I am passing some arguments. Arguments is the value which will be passed to the parameter. Okay. And here when the function is called, then only the function will execute and it will return the value to if. Now you can print a or do whatever you wish to do. So this is the main syntax. Def keyword, function name, parameter, docstring, perform some operations and return the value to the calling code. Clear? Now let's see an example. Here suppose I want to add two numbers. How can I write? First, def is the keyword, addition is the function. I am passing two parameters x and y because I want to add two numbers x plus y. So return x plus y. That means the number will be added and the value will be returned. Return to whom? As I said, to the calling code. What is the calling code here? A equal to addition of 2 comma 3. That means 2 and 3 is passed to the parameters x equal to 2, y equal to 3, return 2 plus 3, 5 will be returned, it will be stored into A and A will be printed. Now let's understand how interpreter executes a function. Now first interpreter creates a memory space for the function but it doesn't execute the function until it is called. So what will happen? This line will be shifted to 4. See what happened here? A memory space is created which is pointing to a function which has two parameters x and y. But this is not executed because the function is not called. A function doesn't get executed until it is called. Okay. Now here a equal to addition 2 comma 3. That means we are calling the function and we are passing values 2 comma 3 to the function. So x will be initialized with 2, y will be initialized with 3. See x equal to 2, y equal to 3. So return x plus y, that means 2 plus 3 will be returned. What will be the value? Return value is 5. See now, a equals to 5. See, a equals to 5. Now if I print, 5 will be printed. So you understand how interpreter executes a function. Okay. Now from the very first day we are studying about function. We used print, we used append, capitalize, upper, lower and many other functions till now. And these are known as built-in function. That means the Python community has already created some functions for you. And what we are doing? We are just invoking the function. We are just calling the function as per our requirement. So these functions are known as built-in function. These are already created by the Python community. Now, if I want, I can create my own function, just like I have created the addition function. I can create any function and that can perform any operations. These are known as user-defined function because as an user I am creating this function. So there are two types of function: built-in function already created by Python community, second user defined function which is created by the user as per their requirement. Clear? Now let's understand what is a docstring. We have already told that when we are writing a program we try to explain what we are doing so that it increases readability. This is known as docstring. So how can we access any docstring? Now if I want to see the documentation of print, I can write this way. Now if I run it, see, this is the documentation of print. If you want to know about any function, you can use this double underscore doc double underscore. Your function name dot double underscore doc double underscore. Okay. So using this syntax, you can access documentation string of any functions. Clear? Now let's understand the concept parameter versus argument. We are already talking about this while writing this function, that these are parameters and these are arguments. When the function is written, this is known as parameters. When the values are passed, this is known as arguments. But this is nothing but a naming convention. Now suppose if I ask you what is the difficulty level. Difficulty level is the parameter. But the value Like it may be easy, it may be medium, it may be hard, it may be very hard. These are the values, these are the arguments. Clear? Difficulty level is the parameter, values are the arguments. So parameter is when we are writing the function, argument is when we are calling the function. Parameter is fixed, arguments keep changes as per the need of the user. This is the simple difference. Now there are three types of arguments: default argument, positional argument, keyword argument. Now let me show you some example. See this one. Here what I have done, I have written a function add, and I am passing two values x comma y. Now returning additional of these two values. I am calling the add function and I am trying to print it. What do you think? This will create an error or this will execute? This will not execute because there is no value of x and y. So it will show us an error. But I want to handle this kind of error. So what I can do, I can give some default arguments. That means if user forgets to give any value, or if he misses to provide any value, instead of showing an error, you take x as 1, y as 1. Clear? So what will happen? I have not given any value, but it will not show me an error. Instead, it will show me the output of 1 plus 1. If you want, you can give anything else, like you can give 3. So the output will be 1 plus 4. So while writing the program, I am giving some default values of the parameters. This is known as default arguments. Clear? Now if I write here 2 comma 3, what will happen? Then x will be overridden by 2, y will be overridden by 3. What will be happen? Result 5. Now if I give the value of x but I don't give the value of y, what will be the result? See 5, because default value of y is 3. Now if I make it 1, what will happen? 2, 2 plus 1. So x will be 2. X is the first one. So x will be replaced by 2. But the default of y is 1. So I have not given any value of 1, but y is by default 1. So the output will be 3. Okay, now next positional argument. Visualize this. This will be more clear. First, memory space will be created. Add pointing to a function has three parameters. Now the function will not be executed. Instead, it will go to the line number 4. And here the function gets called. Three values are passed, 2, 3 and 5. See, now what happened? X is initialized to 2, Y with 3, Z is with 5. So the first position gets the first number, the second position gets the second number, and the third position gets the third number. This is what is known as positional arguments. Clear? Next is keyword argument. Keyword arguments mean I don't want to follow the position. Instead, what I want to allocate y first, then z, then x, or any manner I can pass the values. So what will happen here? Let me show you. See what happens. First, it will go to line number 4. Memory space is created. Now the function is called, but here I have given y equals to 3 first, x equal to 2 last. So how it will be initialized? Let me show you. See, x equal to 2, y equal to 3, z equal to 5. I have not given in an ordered manner, but I have explicitly mentioned that x will be 2, y will be 3, z will be 5. Clear? This is known as keyword argument. So there are three types of argument. Number one, default arguments, where we are giving default value to the parameters. Second one is positional argument. Here the first parameter gets the first value, second parameter gets the second, third parameter gets the third value. Number three is keyword argument. Here I am explicitly mentioning with the parameter name. Clear? Now let's see this one. Here what I am trying to do, here I want to take any name like Mike, Fernandez or anything. Now I want to print it as a proper name. That means every character of first word will be in capital letter. What I have done, I have written a function first, full name. Two parameter, first star, first name is first dot capitalize. Capitalize function we studied in string. What will it do? It will convert m, the first character of the word, into capital letter. Same way surname, F will be converted to capital F. Return first name plus surname. Plus means concatenation operator. String concatenation, we studied that too. So Mike Fernandez will be concatenated into a single string. Now let me run this for you. See Mike Fernandez. Now let me visualize this. See here, if I click full name memory space created, first and sir, two arguments. Next, name equal to full name, first equal to Mike, sir equal to Fernandez. First equal to Mike, sir equal to Fernandez. Function gets called. Next, first name will be converted, so M will be in capital letter. See, first name Mike is capital letter. Surname will be in capital letter. See, surname in F is in capital letter. It will return value. Return value is the concatenated string. Now name will get the return value, so name equal to Mike Fernandez. Print name will be print. See, this is the way it has been executed. Now tell me which kind of arguments I have used here. Here I have used Keyword argument. I have explicitly mentioned first equal to Mike, sir equal to Fernandez. Now suppose if I, now tell me, will it be an error or it will run? Now I think you can say this one will simply run because keyword argument. Okay. Now suppose I write first equal to John, sir equal to Obama. And here I don't pass anything. What do you think the output will be? John Obama. This is, which argument is this? Default argument. Now I write sir equals to Fernandez. Now what will be the output? John Fernandez. Because by default first name is John. I have not provided anything here. But here I have providing sir as Fernandez. So here sir will be replaced by Fernandez. Clear? Now tell me, will this work? If I give first equal to Mike, here I don't provide any value, any default argument. I provide a default argument for Sir Fernandez and here I provide first equal to Mike. Do you think this one will work? Yes, this one will work. But if I write first equal to John and I don't provide any arguments for Sir and here I write Sir equals to Obama, do you think that output will be John Obama? No. Why? Because non-default argument follows default argument. That is, first you can give any non-default argument. That is, if you want to give only one argument, you have to give it to the second parameter. Like here. Because the first one can be non-default argument, but the last one can be default argument. But you cannot do the reverse one. You cannot give any value to the first parameter without giving any value to the second parameter. So you get my point? Okay. So this is all about parameters and arguments. Clear? Now see, I have written a program about calculator which will perform four operations. First, it will ask for your choice, that is whether you want add or subtract or multiply or division. Then it will ask you to give two numbers as input and then as per your choice it will perform any operations. Okay, let me explain you. First I have written an addition function. It will return the additional value. Subtract function, return the subtraction value. Multiply, divide. Here divide, if we divide by 0 then it will be an error, else it will give us the divided value. Now this will be printed in the output like select operation and asking user to give your choice 1, 2, 3, 4. Now while true, that means while the condition is true, the program will continue running. First it will ask for choice. If choice is within the given numbers, then it will ask for two numbers, number 1 and number 2, on which you want to do the operations. But if the choice are not within 1, 2, 3, 4, it will go to the else part. Else part means invalid input will be printed. Okay. Now suppose the person gives choice number 2. That means subtraction. So it will ask for two numbers. First number, second number. And we know in Python by default everything is a string. So I have to convert it to either int or float. So here I have converted it to float number because I want to calculate on float number as well. Okay. Now if the choice equal to 1, that means if the user wants to do the additional operator, I will be calling the add function. Add function I have written in the first and I will pass the two numbers as arguments and it will give me the return value. Same if the choice is 2, subtract function will be called. If the choice is 3, multiplication function will be called. If the choice is 4, divide function will be called. And once it is done, we have to give the break statement to break out of the while loop, otherwise it may start an infinite loop. If user has given anything else other than 1, 2, 3, 4, else statement will be executed and invalid input will be printed. Okay, now let me run it for you. See, I want to do multiplication. 3. It will ask for first number, I give 20. Second number, I want to give 3. So the output will be 60. This is the way you can do 4 operations. You can do some more operations by creating your own functions and writing your own code. Okay, so you are ready to explore. Now, what is a function? This is simply nothing but a data type. It's just like integer, string, float, list, tuple, same. Suppose this one, addition function, we have written above, this gives us the result of two numbers. If I write s is equal to addition and I write print s, what do you think the output will be? It will be an error. See, this will show that it is a function. The name of the function is addition. So by simply writing this code, you can simply rename any function. Now if I write type of s, it will show me that this is a function. See, this is a function. Now suppose I call it a is equal to s of 2 comma 3. So I am calling s function giving two value 2 plus 3, 5 will be returned to A. Now if I write print A, do you think this will work? Yes, simply this is the function. So simply addition function has been renamed to S and I can call S and it will give me the output. Because this is a simple data type. Now can I delete a function? If I write del addition and then uh, if I execute, see the function is deleted. Now if I call the function A equal to addition 2 comma 3 and then I write print A, do you think it will execute? No, because the function is deleted. So it will show us name error. If I write S, I have renamed same name error because the function is deleted. Okay. Now tell me this one. Can I access function in this way? I have taken a list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a function addition. Okay, first let me run this one. Oh, sorry. Let me run this one. Okay. Now tell me, can I access the function in this way? Here what I have done, I have written a log minus 1. That means the addition function. Negative indexing, we studied. So a log minus 1 means addition function is getting called and 3 and 4 value are passed. So 3 plus 4 will be written, 7 will be written because the function is called here. This one, 3 plus 4. So if I run it, see the output is 7. So this is the way we can access a function also because it is a data type. Just like 5. 5 is an integer data type, addition is a function data type. Let's understand some concept related to function. A function can be an input to another function. Here I have written a function, add function, multiply function, and here apply operation, which is taking function as a parameter. Now it is returning a function x comma y. So what will happen when I will be calling this result one equal to apply operation function will be called and I am passing add as an input. So function will be add, x will be 3, y will be 4. Next, it will return the add function and 3 and 4 will become its parameter. So the concept is a bit tricky, but I will make it easy for you. Let me show you in Python tutor. See, first the function is defined. So you can see the function is defined. Next, multiply is defined. Now apply operation, defined, apply operation, which is taking function as an input. Result one will call apply operation is called. What will happen? Function will be add. See, function is pointing to the add function. X will become 3, y will become 4. Return function xy. That means it will return function means add function is pointing to the add. So add will be returned, add function will be returned and A will become 3, B will become 4. See, here you can see A is 3, B is 4. Now it will go to the add function. So add function is called A equal to 3, B equal to 4. It will return A plus B. It will return 7. Return value is 7. Now 7 is the return value. So 7 will be returned to the calling code. Now result will become 7. So print result means result will be printed. So this is the way we can send a function as an input. Now if I change this function to multiply, if I write multiply, what will happen? If I execute this, the multiplication will happen. So 3 into 4, 12. So this is the way you can write many functions. Like you can write def divide a comma b return a divide by b. Now what if I write here divide and I write 6 divided by 4. So what will be the output? 1.5. So a function can be an input to another function. Clear? Now understand a different concept. Now let me tell you what is a nested function. Nested means one function inside another function. Just like nested if else, nested for, nested while, same concept. Here I have written an outer function and I am printing something. Inside the outer function, I have written another function where I am printing something else. Now what happens? First the outer function is called. So it will go to the outer function, it will be executed. It will not execute the inner function. Inner function is not called, then it will come out. Next line will be inner function. Now inner function is called, it will go to the inner function, it will be executed. Let me visualize it. It will make things clear. Look how it runs. First, outer function will be defined. Outer function is defined. But it will not be executed as it is not called. It will go to the line number 10. Here, outer function is getting called. So, it will again go back to the line number 1. Function is called. Go to the next line. Hello, this is outer function. This is printed. Now, it will go to the inner function and inner function will be defined. But it will not be executed. Inner function is defined. Now, it will go to the line number 8. Here, inner function is getting called. So, it will now execute the inner function. So hello I am inside. Now hello I am inside will be printed. See, printed. Now it will come back to the calling code and again it will complete execution. Clear? So this is the way you can write one function in inside another function, and that is what is known as nested function. Now we will understand this concept. This one is returning a function. How we can return a function. Let me show you. See here, I have first defined the outer function. Outer function is defined. Now add 5 equal to outer function. That is outer function is called 5 is the argument. So x will become 5. X will become 5. Next, it will go to the next line. Define inner function is defined, but it will not execute. So inner function is defined. Inner function. Now return inner function. That means inner function will be returned. Return value will be the inner function. Now see the function is returning a function. Now it will return to whom? It will return to add 5. So add 5. So add 5 is pointing to inner function right now. Add 5 is inner function now. Now result equal to add 5 3. That means add 5 3 is getting called. Add 5 3 means the inner function. So inner function is called. So it has come back to the inner function. Okay. Now what will happen? Y is the our parameter here. So y means here 3. X was 5. Here I saw x equal to 5. Now y has become 3. So return 5 plus 3. So it will return 8. Now what will happen? Return inner function means result will be 8. Clear? So what I am doing here, I am returning a function from another function. So a function can be returned also. Okay. So these are good concepts about function. First one is that you can send a function as an input to another function. Second one is you can return a function to another function. Okay, now tell me one thing, that is that return keyword necessary? Till now in every program we have used the return keyword, but is that necessary? Can I define anything, any function without using this return statement? Yes, we can do that. If I run this program, see this function will return none. Why? Because here I have just defined the function and I have written result equal to do something. Function is getting called, the function is printing and return statement is missing here. So it is not returning anything. So result will be none. So the return keyword is not a necessary thing. Without that also we can define a function. If we want, we can return anything. We can return 6. Okay. But if in your program you don't need to return anything, you can just simply avoid return statement. Clear? Now next concept is lambda function. What is a lambda function? Lambda means an anonymous function. Why anonymous? Because this function doesn't have its own name. Lambda keyword is used to define the function. We will take xy as input and the function will be the addition of these two numbers. So result add numbers 3 comma 5. That means x will become 3, y will become 5, 3 plus 5 that is 8. So it will add numbers will become 8 and the result will become 8. So this is just a simple syntax. Within a single line you can perform operations as per your choice. Okay. So this is the syntax. Lambda keyword, then parameters, colon, and write the operations. Okay. Let's do another program using lambda. Suppose I want to check whether a number is even or not. So even equals to lambda keyword x x modulus of 2 equal to 0. If the remainder is 0, that is even. Now result equals to even pass any number 4. So what will happen? Let me print result. Print result. Now let me run it. See, this is true. Because 4 modulus of 2. So 0. So even will become true. So the result is true. That means 4 is even. So using a lambda function, you can write any functions within a single statement. This is going to be very beneficial while doing data science related projects. Okay. Okay. Now see this one. Here created is a function in parameter. It is returning the lambda function. So what will happen when add 5 equal to create adder function is called and it is returning this function. And this function will be returned to the add 5. Now result equal to add 5 means result is the lambda function which is passing 3 arguments. Let me visualize this for you. See, create adder function will be created. Now add 5 equal to create adder 5. Create adder function is getting called. N will become 5. Now it will return the lambda function. Lambda function will be returned to add 5. See, the return value is the lambda function and add 5 will contain lambda function. Okay. Now what will happen? Now result equal to add 5 3. That means lambda function is getting called now. So it will go to this lambda function. And what is that lambda function is doing? It is doing x equal to x plus n. Here x equal to 3 because I have given here 3. Here it has become 3 and n was 5. See here n was 5. So 3 plus 5 it will become 8 and it will return to the result. So it has become 8. Now print it. Result will be printed. Clear? I can do anything else. I can give 7. So it will print 5 plus 7. So I hope you understand how it is executing. First the function is defined. Next the function is getting called. When the function is getting called, it is returning the lambda function. It is not returning a single value. It is returning a function. And that function is stored in add5. Now when we are calling the add5, that means we are calling the lambda function. So it will go to the lambda function and it will perform accordingly. Okay. I hope this is clear. Okay, now let's understand this concept. Args and quarks. Star args means when we are passing the number of arguments, it may not be fixed beforehand. It may change, it may be dynamic. For that, what we do while writing the function, we can write star args. So that when function is called, it can take any number of arguments. I don't want to fix the value. I want to keep it flexible. That's why star args is used. So here what I have written in this function, simply total equal to 0 for num in R's, total equal to total plus num. That means all the numbers are added and stored to the total. This is just a for loop and it is returning the total value which will be stored in result and result will be printed. So here I don't need to write x comma y comma z comma a comma b comma c comma d. I don't need to write like that. Instead I can give a single star which will imply that any number of arguments can be passed. Clear? Now args is not a mandatory. I can write anything. If I write cocoa, here I write cocoa. See the same result. So this is just a convention args, but this is not mandatory that you have to write star args. The star is the special character which will make interpreter understand that any number of arguments can be passed. Okay, okay. Now what about quarks? Quarks is a simple thing. Here instead of single star, we write double star because it is used for dictionary, that is for key value pairs. Now to use these key value pairs, we use double star. Concept is same. We don't know the number of arguments. But when it is a single argument, we use single star. When it is a key value pair, we use double star. And here also same concept. It is not necessary. I can write anything. I can write KWC or whatever you wish. This is just a simple convention that quarks is used. But basically which matters is the single star and double star. Now if I run it, it will show me as an output. Now tell me what will be the output of this following code snippet. Here what I have done, I have written my function and I have initialized b with 20 inside the function. I am trying to print the b inside the function. So here initialization and accessing both are done inside the function. That is known as local variable. That means the variable is initialized locally and the variable is accessed locally. The scope of the variable is local. But what if I declare the variable outside the function and I try to call the variable from the function? What will happen? Now if I run it, the output will be 10. So this is what is known as global variable. Here I have declared the variable outside the function, not inside the function like before. Okay, so when I am declaring it inside the function, this is known as local variable. When I am declaring it outside the function, this is known as global variable. Now tell me one thing. If I write another function, definition my function 1 and I am trying to access the b. Do you think I can access? Let me call the function my function 1. If I run this, what will be the output? It will be an error and it will show as b is not defined because b is within the scope of my function. So my function 1 cannot access b because b is a local variable within a local place. Anybody else from outside cannot access b. Simple concept. But here if I write the same function, let me copy this one and I have to call the function my function 1. Now what do you think? It will show an error or it will give us the output? See, both can access the variable. My function can also access A. My function 1 also can access it. Because here A is the global variable. The scope of A is global. So this is the difference between local variable and global variable. Local variable means inside the function. The scope is only inside the function. You can access the variable only inside the function. But global means any function can access that. You can access it from anywhere. Because the variable is declared globally. Okay, that is what is known as local scope and global scope. Clear? Now tell me what will be the output of this function. A equal to 10, you can see this is a global variable. Shadow function, I have created a function. A equal to 100, this is a local variable. Why? Declared inside a function. Now if I try to write print A, what will be the output? It will be 10 or it will be 100. Now what will be the output? It will access the global variable or it will access the local variable. What do you think? Let me run this. See what happens here. The inner variable shadows the global variable within its scope. Okay. This concept is known as variable shadowing. But if I write print A, what will happen? Now it will be 10 or 100. What do you think? Now let me show you. This is gonna be 10 because here it will access the global variable. Simple. Variable shadowing means the inner variable shadows the global variable within its scope. But outside its scope, it cannot shadow. Outside its scope, it is not accessible because it is a local variable. So here, which one I can access? I can access only the global variable. And global variable is 10, so the output will be 10. Clear? Variable shadowing concept, I think it's clear to you. Now let me tell you about this one. Okay, you tell me what will be the output of this one. A equal to 10, this is a global variable, function declared. What I am trying to do? I can access from the global variable. So I am trying to modify it. A equal to a plus 1. I want a to be 11. And I want it to be printed as 11. Do you think it will be 11? No, this will show us an error. Why? You can access a global variable, but you cannot modify it locally. You understand my point? You can access, you can use, you can print, but you cannot modify the variable. Because suppose there are many functions. I write def another functions. I write def another function. And if everyone is trying to access it and modifying it globally, then global variable will be confused. Okay, there will be a problem. There will be a chaos. That's why any local function can access a global variable but cannot modify it. You get the concept? Now tell me one thing. If I write global A, now what do you think? See, now I am contradicting my words. I am able to change the global variable. 10 plus 1, that is 11. See, this is done by using the global keyword. So what is a global keyword? By using the global keyword, you can modify a global variable within a scope of a function. So Python is not strict. It is giving you the option that you can change the global variable, but not directly. Why is that so? Because if you need it, you can do it. But this is not a recommended practice. It is like speeding up the car. If you need to go somewhere, it is an emergency, you have to go, you can go in speed. But this is not what is recommended. So same here, the concept is completely same. If you need it for your program, you can do it. Python is not restricting you from doing it. But if you don't need, then don't go for it. This is not recommended. When someone is writing global keywords many times in his project, so it can be considered that it is not a good programming code. Okay, now let's see another one. Tell me what will be the output of this program. X equal to 10, a global variable. I have declared a function, outer function. Here x equal to 20, variable shadowed. Now you can see this is a nested function we studied in our last class. This is the inner function x equal to 30, print x. Then outside the inner function, print x again, which is an outer function. Now after everything, outside everything, print x. So what will be the value of the x? Take a pause and tell me what will be the output. Okay, now let me show it to you in Python tutor. Now first, say x equal to 10. Global variable initialized with 10. Next, outer function defined, but outer function is not called. So outside the function, outer function is called. Outer function is called means now it will execute x equal to 20. So here another variable within the scope of outer function x equal to 20. Clear? Next, def inner function is defined, but it will not execute until it is called. So outside the function, line number 8, here inner function is called. So now it will execute the inner function. See the red line. Now inner function is called. Now what will happen? X equal to 30. Another variable will be created. X equal to 30. Different variable within the scope of inner function. Okay. Now if I click next, print inside x is 30. That means inside x is will be printed. Here see inside x is 30. And return value is none because here it is not returning anything. Fine. The function has completed its execution and x equal to 30 is deleted from the memory because this was the scope of the function. Once the function has completed execution, x equal to 30 variable is lost. So you get my point. Now what is the value of x? Now the value of x is 20. So this line print in outer function x means x equal to 20 will be printed because we are inside the outer function. We are inside the outer function and inside the value of x is 20. So here the x value of x is 20. Now See, in outer function, it is 20. And the return value is none because the function is not returning anything. Now we have completed outer function also. So what will happen? This x will also be deleted because the function has completed execution. When the function completes its execution, everything is lost from the memory. Look, it is lost. Now what will happen here? Print outside everything here. That is the global variable. Global variable means now x value of x is 10. Now if I print outside everything is 10. Okay, clear? Okay. Now tell me what will be the output for this one. Non-local keyword I have used here. First, outer function, a count variable. Within inner function, I am using the non-local keyword. And I am trying to increase the value of count. See what I am doing here. First, I have created a function, outer function. So it is not called. Now this function is called. So outer function is called. That means count will be initialized with 0. See, nested function and inner function within outer function. So nested function is created. It is pointing to a function, but it will not be executed because it is not called. What is the next line? Return inner function. So this inner function will be returned to whom? To the calling code. That is counter here. So counter will hold the inner function. Okay, see the return value is the function. We studied about this concept that we can return a function also in our last function related class. So here counter is holding the inner function. Okay. Now next line is print counter function. So here what I am doing, calling the counter function and whatever the output will be, that will be printed. So when I am calling the counter function which is holding the inner function, that means the inner function is called. You can now see inner function is called. Now what will happen? Count equal to count plus 1. That means 0 plus 1. So the value will be 1. The value of count will be 1. Now return value. See return value is 1. Count has become 1. Now this will return to home. So this statement print counter. So print 1. Now 1 will be printed. See 1 is printed. You get my point? Same thing will happen again. Again print counter means again the counter is called. Counter means counter is holding the inner function. Counter is called means inner function is called. Inner function is called means we will go back to the line number 3. Again line number 3. Next count equal to count plus 1. What was the value of count? You can see 1. So 1 plus 1 that is 2. Count will become 2. You can see return count. Return value will be 2. So 2 will be returned. To home? To the calling function. That means to line number 11. Print 2. So 2 will be printed. 2 will be printed. Clear? So here what does this non-local keyword means? So when you are trying to modify a variable from an inner function, which is within the scope of the outer function, you have to use the non-local keyword. Here we are trying to modify the count from the inner function, but count is a variable of the outer function. So that is when we require this non-local keyword. Okay, because the scope of the variable is the outer function, but we are trying to modify it from the inner function. So that is when you can use the non-local keyword. Okay, now what if I try to print count here? What do you think the output will be? It will be an error. Why is that so? Because count is declared within the scope of a outer function. So we cannot access it from outside the function. See, there this one will be error. Count is not defined. It is inside the scope of a outer function. But I am trying to access it from outside. So you can do that. Okay. Now tell me about this one. If you can say, then you have understood the concept. First, I have taken a global variable 100. Next, I have created a outer function and I have taken outer variable 50. Next, I have taken an inner function. I have created inner variable 25. Now what will happen if I write print outer variable? What do you think the output will be? First, global variable will be defined. Outer function will be defined. Next, we will go to the next line. Outer function will be called. When the outer function will be called, outer variable will be defined with 50. And now print outer variable. So what will happen? 50 will be printed. Let me show you. 50 is printed. Now if I write print global variable, what will be the output? This will be 100. See, from the outside, we can access global variable from anywhere. Now if I write print the inner variable, what do you think the output will be? If I write inner variable, it will show an error because the inner variable is inside the scope of the inner function. So I cannot access it from outer function. Clear? Now suppose here if I write print global variable. Normally it can access global variable 100. Now if I write print outer variable, what will be the output? 50. It can access the outer variable also. Now if I write print inner variable, now what will be the output? See, 25. So it can access inner variable also because this is in the inner function. So we can access the inner variable also. Now suppose outside the inner function, if I write print global variable, what will be the output? 100. It can access. Now if I write print outer variable, what will be the output? 50. Because we are inside the outer function. We are inside the outer function. So outer variable can be easily accessed. But what if I write print inner variable? Now what will happen? Now if I try to run it, error. Because we are outside the inner function. The scope of the inner function is up to this one. So an error. Let me uncomment this one. Clear? Now outside every function. We are outside outer function also. Outside outer function also. Now I am writing print global variable. What will be the output? Global variable you can access from anywhere. Simple concept. What will be the output? It will be an error because we are outside the outer function also. So what are the concept we have learned? The global variable, the local variable, global scope, local scope. We can access global variable within a function, but we cannot modify it. If you want to modify, we have to use the global keyword. Okay. Now tell me what will be the value of a right now. Think and tell me. We are inside the inner function and we are trying to access a. But a is declared 100 globally, 50 in the outer function, 25 in the inner function. But we are trying to access here printed. Now what will happen? Variables are doing, so 25 will be printed. Now if I come out of the inner function and I try to access a. Now what will happen? This will be 50. See, a is 50. A is 50. Why? Because we are inside the outer function, outside the inner function. Simple. Now if I print a here, now what will be the output? We are outside every function. So it will access the global variable. Not this one, not this one. Now let me show you. See, this is global variable. Now let me delete this one, delete this one, and uncomment this one, and delete this one. Now tell me what will be the output. There is no inner variable. So print a means what will be the output? See, the output is 50. It is going for the outer function. Now if I delete this one also, then what do you think the output will be? The output is 100. Global variable, that is 100. Okay. Now if I write a equals to 50, now what will be the output? See, now the output is 50 because it is taking from the outer function. But I delete this one. Now what will happen? Now it will be 100 because now it will go for the global one. So what is the preference? First, it will look for local variable. If local variable is not found, then it will go outside the function. Outside the function. If there is any outer loop or outer function, if also not there, then it will go for the global variable. Now we have discussed almost every concept related to the scope of a variable in function in Python. Okay. Now we have finished functions and we will try to do many more programmings in our later videos and try to practice as much as possible. Okay. That will give you the confidence. Okay. Bye. Happy learning.